Poem 6, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. The poem is written by Robert Frost, an American poet. Stopping meaning to take a halt or pause. By woods. Woods, it's the forest. So one takes a pause by the side of the forest on a snowy evening. So what are the feelings and what are the expressions? Let us see what Robert Frost has to say. The poem. Let's read the poem. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. So the poet, if we take it that the poet is the rider on the horse and he's passing by the woods, he knows to whom the woods belong. And the person to whom the woods belong lives in the village. He doesn't live in the middle of the forest. He will not see me stopping here. So the friend to whom the woods belong, to whom the forest belongs, he won't know who are passing by his forest. Similarly, the friend passing by the forest would not be known to the owner of the woods to watch his woods fill up with snow. So you have these huge, beautiful trees and it's evening time. There is a snowfall and the entire region is covered with snow. Even the branches and the leaves have got the white effect. So he says to watch his woods fill up with snow. He will not know that I was enjoying. That is Robert Frost or the poet, the rider, was enjoying the lovely forest on that snowy evening. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. So the poet is on the horseback, and when he stops by the wood, the horse is thinking, he thinks it queer meaning strange. Generally, a person who is traveling will stop by an inn, that is a hotel, or by a village, or any place where there is some habitation, where people are there. But here there is only forest and snow, and yet the rider has stopped. And therefore the horse is feeling quite queer, quite strange, quite out of place, odd. To stop without a farmhouse near. Sometimes on the highway, when the roads are bifurcating, and if there is no signboard, you wait to think which path to take. So the horse is also thinking, maybe the rider is confused. And because there is no farmhouse any nearby, then why is he stopping between the woods and the frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year? So where is the rider standing? On one side you have the beautiful woods, the forest covered with snow. On the other hand you have a lake which is totally frozen, and the darkest evening of the year. This sentence tells you it is the month of December. In northern hemisphere, winters are November, December, January and February. So the darkest evening would be in December, 21st or 22nd December. The darkest evening, longest evening. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. So the horse, who is feeling uncomfortable or strange why the rider has stopped, is trying to bring attention to the rider or drawing his attention by shaking. Now you find the lagam of the horse, for example, and there is also that tied on the mouth of the horse. Even the eyes are covered. He has got bells round his neck So when he shakes the bells on his harness, he is giving it a shake to wake the rider from sleep. He thinks he's gone up to sleep. To ask if there is some mistake. Have you stopped here by chance, by accident? Or have you gone up to sleep? Then wake up. Let's go on. The only other sound or sweep, the only other noise besides the bells you can hear is the sound of the wind passing through the trees, of easy wind and downy flake. On a rainy day, if you have a galvanized roof, and even nowadays you have the plastic roof and the water falls on that, raindrops, what sort of sound you hear? Tapur, tupur, tapur, tupur. So here the snowflake falling is creating a sound, and the wind blowing through the forest is also creating a sound. So 3 sounds you can hear in the paragraph number 3. The bells of the harness. Second, the wind blowing through the forest, through the trees, and the snowflake. When you have the very light ice falling in your freezer, nowadays you have defrosting fridge. Otherwise in the freezer, right on the roof part, you find ice as, you find crystals of ice. And you can pull it out with your hand. Like the gola. You eat gola in summers. So snowflake is something like that crushed ice. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. But I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So though the poet or the rider is standing by the wood, which is so lovely, which is so pleasant, it is so consoling, it is so soothing, it is dark and deep in the sense the snowfall has got its height now, and the darkness you can't pierce through, you can't see through, the visibility is almost zero, and he could enjoy this moment endlessly, but he can't. He can't stop there for a very long time and keep on enjoying, because he had promises to keep. What are the promises here? It is the duties, it is the responsibility, it is the commitment which he has to complete. Miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep. Now these lines are very famous and quoted by many people at many a times. So one meaning, literal meaning is, I have to travel a long distance before I find a bed. That is the face value of that line. Literal meaning. But what is the true meaning? Before I sleep, meaning before death, I have so many things which I need to do. The life is short. The time is less. The task is just like Himalayas. I have to complete it before I die. So miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep. Now here you can see the picture of the rider passing through the woods which are covered with snow. The sight is beautiful. And then we have these words, the meaning. Woods meaning forest, queer meaning strange. You can also say odd, frozen, Fiji javu, sweep. At home you are sweeping with the broom, the dust, so varu. Harness, it is that sort of a saddle that is used on the horse. Downy flake, small and light pieces of snow. Very much like the gola that you eat. I hope you have understood the poem. Before I go further, in this poem we have not marked the rhyming words. Let me see if you can find it. No, do, snow. So, here you have no, though and snow. But the third line does not rhyme. Then in the second one, clear, near, they are rhyming. Lake and, so you can have lake and ear, it doesn't. Near and ear, they sound correct, so that is rhyming. Clear and lake. In this, it doesn't rhyme so well. Shake, mistake and flake. So there you are, 3 words again. Shake, mistake and flake. Sweet does not rhyme. Odd man out. In the last one, deep, keep, sleep, sleep. So you have all those 4 last words rhyming. Let us see how the poet wants to explain his journey through the forest. Robert Frost, the poet, as I told you, he is from America. He was from America. The poet was on his tour when he comes to the woods, that is the forest, and he could recognize to whom those woods belonged. He knew the woods belonged to his friend. He understood his friend wouldn't know if he stopped by the woods. So, even in the village area, you find people living in the village clustered homes and their fields are far away. Their farm is far away. So same way here, the woods are far from his dwellings, from his house, and therefore he would not know who is stopping by his woods and enjoy the snowfall. So Robert Frost is saying his friend, he understood his friend wouldn't know if he stopped by the woods and enjoyed the snowfall. But his horse couldn't understand why his rider had stopped on a cold, wintry night by the woods when there were no farmhouse nearby. So as I said, the horse is feeling it quite strange, odd, that the rider has stopped not in a dwelling place or by the inn, but in the middle of the woods. The horse shook himself to remind the rider to continue with his journey. If you have slept, wake up, let's start. But the rider does not heed to the shake of the horse. Though the horse is trying to draw the attention, yet the rider does not listen, does not pay heed, meaning does not listen, and thinks over the task he had to complete before he goes to sleep. Many a times you recount the deeds that you have done during the day. You recall the work that you have done. Or you can also recall, many times you recall also the happy moments or even the sad moments. So here he is making a list of things that he needs to do before he sleeps. And as I said, the sleep can be something different. See, the last lines are very significant. The work or the task one has to do before the death strikes. The life is short, the work is more. So we cannot rest, but continue and continue. Like you had it in the previous poem, be the best. Whatever you do, put in your full effort. Some MCQ questions. His house is in the, you have to fill in the blank. Answer is already underlined for you, is in the village though. Second question. Why did the horse shake his bells? The options are, horse was feeling cold, horse had the habit of shaking. Third one, to tell the rider to move on. And the fourth one, horse had frozen. So answer has been underlined for you, to tell the rider to move on. Third question. The poet heard only the sound of. First option is easy wind and downy flake. Second, lightning and thunder. Third, sound of harness bells. And the fourth one, other sledge moving. Now, he was not able to hear any of the sounds except the first one, easy wind and downy flake, because that is what he was enjoying. Now we have questions from the comprehension. Say whether that is true or false. There was a farmhouse in the woods. False. It was in the village. The rider decided to stay in the woods. True. He wanted to enjoy the beauty. Third, the snow made the woods beautiful. Correct. You also saw the picture. Fourth, the rider and the owner of the woods were together. False. Rider was all by himself. Fifth, the horse shook his bells because he was happy to see the beautiful woods. False. He wanted to wake up his rider. Sixth, it was a clear and quiet evening. False. For it was windy and snowflakes were making sound. Let us see the B section with nearest meanings. The little horse must think it queer. What is the meaning? The horse was not happy with his master's decision to stop. But I have promises to keep. It means the rider had many duties to perform. Third, he gives his harness bells a shake. It means the horse expressed his disagreement by shaking the bells. Beauty signifies, what does it mean? Something wonderful. What is charming? That can be appreciated. And queer means strange. Promise means task and responsibility. Queer means strange. Answer these questions. Where did the poet stop his horse and why? The poet stopped his horse in the woods because it was wintry night and the snow made it a beautiful sight. I'm repeating it. The poet stopped his horse in the woods because it was a wintry night and the snow made it a beautiful sight. Second question, why did the horse give harness bells a shake? Answer. The horse gave his harness bells a shake to remind the rider of his mistake of stopping on a wintry night in the woods. And there was no farmhouse, so he wanted to tell his rider that he must have gone up to sleep. Third question, why can't the poet stop at the woods for a long time? Answer. The poet could not stop or couldn't stop at the woods for a long time as he had many duties to perform, many responsibilities to attend. Fourth question, what would have happened if the poet had stayed longer at the woods? Answer, if the poet had stayed longer at the woods, then he would fail in completing his duties and tasks which he had promised himself to complete before he slept, meaning before he died. I'll give you one example here, that when you keep on playing and your mother calls you at home to sit for work, for your homework, you say 5 more minutes and 5 more minutes, and that 5 minutes stretches to 1 hour at times. And then when you sit to do your homework, you are not able to complete it because you feel tired after that long play. Then who is responsible for incompleting the task? Definitely you. Yes, because you did not go when the call came. So here the poet is telling you that whatever work we have, we needed to do it then. Kal kare so aaj kare so ab. So this is so rightly said by Robert Frost. I hope you have understood the poem. Now what is the message of this poem? The message of this poem is that there will be many temptations and attractions to divert one's mind from one's responsibility. But one should not surrender to them, as everyone is assigned with some task and they must not fail in chasing it, in completing it. So just now as I told you that you are playing a game and you've not finished your homework. Your mother asked you to bring something from the market. You said, I'll bring it later. And then you forget. So whatever task is given to you First attend to it and then to recreation or enjoyment. So temptations and attractions. There are so many at just arm's distance. They are bigger hindrance in our work. So you must have a strong willpower to finish your work first and then give in to the temptation. Surrender is to give in. What is the meaning of temptation? Lalach. There are so many things which might tempt you. I hope you have enjoyed this poem, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, and understood it. Thank you.